Hello everyone, I'm FARMERSIM and welcome back to Pallegney. I do hope you're all doing very, very well and having a great day. So, we're here, it's the second day of March. Rain's due sometime this afternoon, but for what I've got planned for this in-game episode, I'm hoping we should be able to miss that. We shouldn't let it bother us. The plan I've got at the minute, now I've been doing a little bit of thinking, quite a bit of thinking in fact, over these last few days between the last couple of episodes, as to the kind of game plan I need to create on this map, on this save moving forward. Now, this kind of came about initially thanks to me introducing realistic livestock onto this map, onto this save, and appreciating that things like the milk production is going to slow drastically, or at least it's going to be delayed for a very long time anyway, because the cows no longer produce milk until they're calving. We're not going to be able to take advantage of the production system, our cheese little dairy thing that we've got going on that's adjoined to the farm there, and make money from the likes of the cheese and all that kind of stuff that you can produce from that production system. So I have had to kind of think about, you know, what I'm going to do and how I'm going to, you know, keep the save going in a matter of words and not try and make it dull from a content perspective anyway. So, you know, it has involved a little bit of thought, and initially what it's made me do is kind of change my approach to things a little bit, because ordinarily I kind of, and maybe this is a detriment from my side of things anyway for the channel and for my content, but I kind of I've tended to stick to similar stuff across the saves, and like I say, whether that's detrimental to my content and to my channel, I don't know, but I feel I do need to, you know, broaden my horizons, as it were, and, you know, do different things. So that's what I'm going to do. Initially, what I'm going to do right now is we are going to load up our TMR mixer with some silage. I'm going to load up most of this, in fact, I think, because we need most of it. There we go. That'll do. Yeah, we're going to load up everything that we've got here. Let's remove the wrap off these bags. Load up the TMR machine with whatever hay, straw, and silage, obviously, that we've got here, in order just to completely fill it up to keep us going into the near future. And I'm just trying to register on all these bales here, but I'll stand on top of that one. There we go. I don't think the ones below it have been got, have they? There we go. There's that one, that one, that one, that one, that one, and that one. I think there might be one or two. No, there's one there at the bottom. Oh yeah, I can get it. I think it's just... Oh no, I got them. Brilliant. We don't want to be sticking bale wrap in our TMR machine now, do we? But yeah, so the plan I've got moving into the future. Now this kind of came about, like I say, initially from thinking about what I'm going to do to change things up as a result of the slow pace of the milk production. But also, it came about... Oh goodness me, I didn't think I was going to need a weight on the back of this thing. Seemed to cope quite well with picking two of them up above each other when I tested it before. Yeah, I think I might need to stick the weight on the back of this to do this successfully. But yeah, it kind of came around as a result from one of the comments from one of you wonderful viewers, Virtual Farming Life. Hello mate, hope you're well. In the comments of one of my other videos a couple of weeks back, it was kind of merely a suggestion from him. And if I'm quite honest, it was a very helpful suggestion, and it made me kind of sit back a bit and just rethink things and just consider things that I haven't done yet in Farming Simulator. There we go. There we go. That's good. The tip point of the TMR mixer was fixed, thankfully, by the modder a wee while ago, so I don't have any difficulties in getting them loaded in. There's my rear weight, so we'll get that hooked onto the back just to give this a bit more balance. But yeah, the suggestion was... Try not to reverse into the wall. The suggestion was to consider doing some of the newer crops that came in Farming Simulator 25. Now, initially, for some reason or other, I can't explain why, my mind just hadn't really considered them, if I'm honest. I think perhaps it might have been as a result of my experiences back at in the back end of Farming Simulator 22. With the carrots. Now, I had a go of carrots when the premium DLC came out on my Court Farm save, and quite honestly, I hated them. It was an absolute nightmare. I was all excited about experiencing them and having a go with the new machinery and whatnot. But if I'm perfectly honest, it was, dare I say it, painful. My experience of it was anyway. The seeding of them and all that wasn't really a problem. It was more to, Jesus Christ, it was more to do with the harvesting of them when it came to the woefully narrow 1.5 metre or single row pickup of the harvester that I chose to use. And it was a very, very time consuming process. The field wasn't that big. It was just, yeah, it was a massive task. And in my mind anyway, whether it was just my frame of mind at the time, I don't know, whether it was just my impatience, I just found it to be not a very fun experience, shall we say. So, you know, I kind of, maybe I built a barrier up in my mind from them, I don't know, but I kind of thought, no, I'm not doing them again. And I think I was quite vocal about that after during that episode on Court Farms. I was like, no, I'm not doing them again. So even when it's come to Farming Simulator 25 and the introduction of new crops like spinach and green beans and peas, I don't know why, but I've just kind of, you know, stayed away from them. And I think it's about time that I just gave my head a wobble and think, no, I need to do them. Now, like I say, initially, one of the comments that came from Virtual Farming Life was, have I considered, you know, expanding a bit and considering doing some of the new crops, because they are and can be quite profitable in the long term. And over on my Discord, he did give me a little bit more information about them, because he's a lot more clued up about stuff like this in Farming Simulator 25. He has experienced them. Now, Virtual Farming Life is a very knowledgeable young man. He works, I believe, he told us what he did in the chat section of one of my live streams over on Judith Plains the other day. And it's really quite interesting. He's a journalist, I believe, within the agricultural industry, and he spends a lot of time around new technology, you know, learning and understanding and seeing what companies are bringing to the field, no pun intended, within the agricultural industry. And it's extremely interesting. I mean, for example, he posted a video up on my Discord the other day of, I believe it's I think it's the only one in the world, or one of two in the world, made by the same company. And it was quite simply, it was a square bale wrapper. It was a square bale baler and wrapper in one. Now, we've never really seen that kind of thing in Farming Simulator, have we? Because it hasn't existed. We've got round bale wrappers, but we don't have a square baler that wraps the bale on its way out. So, yeah, he showed us a video of that, and it was like, oh my goodness, how cool's that? So yeah, he's kind of on the ball in that respect. So he's got a lot of knowledge, and it's very, very interesting and very helpful for me anyway, who's not a farmer in real life, to learn from this guy, because he's, you know, like I say, it really helps to, when I've given myself the opportunity to absorb the information that he's passed over, in the fullness of time, to try and consider that information and bring it into the game, if possible, within the confines of what you can do with Farming Simulator, to add that little extra bit of realism into my game saves and my series. So I am forever grateful, VFL, if you are watching, mate. I am forever grateful for your information. I find it utterly fascinating, quite frankly. So yeah, so moving on into the future, I have myself a little bit of a plan. Now, it's going to involve money, of course, as it always does. It's going to involve a loan. It's going to involve a little bit more work, which is fine. Hopefully, at some point in today's episode, we're going to be able to crack on with some of that work. Now, initially in my mind, I'm going to purchase two new fields for the farm. I'll show you those very shortly. And obviously, when it comes to picking up two new fields, we're going to have to do a little bit of prep work, get the soil right. We're going to have to buy in we're going to have to sort out the precision farming data to make sure that the soil map is loaded in, and we get an understanding of what the fields need in respect of lime and nitrogen, which is all good. It's kind of part of the process. But I feel it's going to give me an opportunity in the future to sample a bit of the new stuff that the game has had to offer for some time, and I just haven't done anything about it. And add a bit more of a variety into my content, and this series at least, and put a bit of experience under my belt, and potentially consider doing things like this on other saves into the future. Now, financially, it was one of the things that got me, and is that made me really consider it, was initially thinking about spinach. It's a crop that I've never worked with in Farming Simulator. It's a crop that I've never really thought about working in Farming Simulator. But I have done now, and I've done a little bit of research into it in the game, and also thanks to a little bit of information from Virtual Farming Live. It sounds like it could be an extremely profitable venture. Now, as we all know, the harvesting equipment for spinach is massively expensive. I think off the top of my head, we're looking at north of 600,000 euros to buy in the massive Oxbow machine. Now, of course, I'm not necessarily going to be doing that. We can lease it. That can, you know, it's expensive to lease. I think it's going to cost, well, I don't know exactly what it's going to cost, but we're going to be looking at something like 20 to 30,000 euros an hour. Or sorry, for several hours. Sorry, I think it's about 18,000 euros an hour or something like that. Anyway, so it does involve a little bit of you know, expenditure in that respect. But over the fullness of time, the chances are we would be able to eventually turn a profit. Because what he did say was, you know, assuming all the soil and health is all, the soil health, sorry, is all at what it needs to be within the game for precision farming and lime and nitrogen, you could be looking at roughly around 35,000 euros a hectare after, you know, as a yield, which is pretty incredible if I think about it. And also on top of that, regarding spinach, and this is something I didn't know, is that you can actually get 2 crops within a year. So spinach will regrow once. So if I seed a field, which we are currently, don't hit the ground, I'm going to do it wrong again, aren't I? You never learn, Farmer Sim, goodness me. But yeah, if I seed now in March, we'll be able to get a crop out of it in June, and then it will regrow once, and we'll be able to get another crop out of it again in, I believe, September time, I think, September or November, and then we'll have to reseed again. And based on the quantities that we've got, if I look at what I've jotted down, I'm going to try and drive and pick up a bale and aim for the loading point at the same time. The field I've got in mind is 3.15 hectares. So the finances could look very, very good if all goes well. You know, and like I say, you know, once we've laid out the expenditure and spent it for the harvesting machinery and all that, you know, yeah, we have to work our way into the future in order before we can consider us, you know, in the green, as it were, and making profit from the crops. But I think it's going to be fun, and for me, it's going to be something different. It's going to be something new to try, which I am all up for. Let's be honest. It's about time I did. It's about time I gave me head a wobble, especially in respect of, because I have said this several times before, but I kind of, for some reason, I kind of try and stay away from getting a loan. Now, why I do that, I don't know. Whether it's just a thing, maybe that's just what I do. It's because, you know, that's what I kind of do in real life. I try not to get myself into debt, as it were. And maybe I've just naturally brought that to my mindset within Farming Simulator. But the reality is, it's fine. It's not real. I can get myself a loan. I don't need to worry. I've always tried to just, you know, lumber through myself and do things from the ground up and earn the money as I go along. And if it's a struggle, it's a struggle, etc., etc. You know what I'm talking about. But yeah, if I'm going to try and explore new things, it's going to involve getting a loan. Now, obviously, as you can see, 60 grand at the minute in the bank. We can't afford to buy a field at the minute, so we're going to the initial loan that I'm going to get is going to cover the purchase of 2 new fields. It's going to involve the purchase of a seeder. Now, I did quite a few episodes ago. I did have a bit of a go with. It was a mod that I used, a 3-meter wide Novag seeder, which was a wonderful thing, but it's very, very expensive. It's about 122,000 euros. Now, the reality is I don't need that. We do have a fertilizer spreader in the form of the French sprayer, and we also have we've got our lime spreader, of course, and so yeah, I can do the jobs that we need to do without spending 120,000 euros on a drill. But what I can do is buy a very simple drill. Right, let's see if we can do this one properly, shall we? Don't fall off. Success, excellent. So yeah, there's an Amazon, sorry, D830, sorry, and it's 10,000 euros. It's a very simple thing, but it also visually, I think, suits the the kind of vintage of the machinery that we've got on the farm, the three relatively weathered and beaten Fiat Agris. So that's what I'm going to invest in. It's like I say, very simple, nothing too fancy, but it doesn't have a very big capacity. It only does seed, it doesn't do fertilizer. In fact, let me get this one picked up, and then I'll have a quick check in our productions menu just to see where we're up to. Fill wise, where are we? Mixer. Right, so we are almost full. We've got about, where are we there? About 45,000 litres worth to get filled up for the silage, at least anyway. And then we can get the straw and the hay in there, and then that's just completely topped up. Now, we do have 150 odd thousand litres of TMR in the mixer as well, but I just kind of thought, may as well load up with the bales and get the TMR mixer completely full as best as we can, with what it needs to keep a constant supply of TMR going. So now another thing I was considering was the usage of the natural fertilizer that we get from the cows. Obviously we have our slurry pit here, and we have an ever increasing size of manure going on there. But what I didn't appreciate until a few moments ago, before I hit record, is that you can't actually sell your manure to the biogas plant without owning the biogas plant. So initially I had a thought of just loading up the trailer with manure and going and tipping it over to the biogas plant and getting a bit of a trickle income coming in every hour or so from the usage of that. But we're not going to be able to do that because we don't own the biogas plant, and I haven't got 875,000 euros to throw at it. Have I put all the silage in? Where's my silage? Is that all of it? Oh, I guess I had done. Goodness me. Right, okay, so we need, let me just check into the numbers here. So we need about just under 35,000 litres of straw and almost 80,000 litres of hay. How much hay have we got in here? Bum, 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 bum. 6,500. Yeah, we can take all of that, can't we? I think. Start getting the hay loaded in. There we go. So yeah, we can't do anything with the biogas plant. Essentially, that's the long and short of it. So I need to consider something to do with our manure, which of course the next, idea, thought, whatever, is we need to throw it on our fields. So in order to throw it on our fields, I'm going to need a manure spreader. So the cheaper, or the kind of mid-range one of those is, I think it's about 36,500 euros. So we're going to incorporate that into the loan as well. So we're going to go for, let me just drop these two off, and then I'll show you I'll show you in the PDA which fields we're going to go for. There's only two of them, like I say, but there we go. So into the map here, there we go, up to the top. Right, so the fields that I have got in mind, now I've purposely chosen fields that are currently empty. I don't want to waste any growing crop that's in there that I'm not interested in. So field 28 here is the one that I'm considering because it's relatively close to our farm. Our farm is here, it's just over the road. So field 28 is 189,906 euros. So we're going to go for that one. And then zooming out a bit, we are also going to go for field 67 here, just on this, along the viaduct there, where the train travels from left to right. This is 176,838, roughly about the same size. This is 7.28 acres, and field 28 is 7.82. Now the idea is I'm going to put spinach into field 28 here, and I'm going to put peas into field 67 here. Now both of those crops require their own unique harvesters. They both look exactly the same, and they are both massively expensive. But like I said, it's going to be something new to try. It's going to be something, it's about time I kind of broadened my church with what we do here on the channel, and have a bit of a go with some new stuff. So it's about time, and you never know, I might actually enjoy it. And profit wise, I think it's going to be pretty good. Now this field in particular, field 28, it does have an empty patch here, as you can see, right in the top corner. It's not particularly big, it's nothing much to write home about, but there is a bit of a patch there that I think MA7 Studios kind of put aside for a potential patch to put something on if you wanted. I'm not too sure. But what I am going to do, just with that, when we do get, very shortly, when we do come around to purchasing this field, I'm going to dig the cultivator out, and we're going to just create that little corner and kind of join it into this field before we scan the field for the soil data, so we get it all in one go. So that's the idea with that. And then it's going to be a case of getting the loan, buying the two fields, buying the seeder, because like I said, we don't actually have a seeder on the farm. I think I sold the one I started with ages ago, like I have been doing over the last few episodes, in a bit of wheeling and dealing, selling things, so I didn't need it at the time once we got all the crops into the ground and whatnot. And we did rent that little 3-meter Novag thing to do some of the drilling as well. But like I say, I only need a small drill. I don't need anything fancy or big or anything. We've got the capacity to spread fertiliser in different forms, and like I say, I'll also throw about 30 odd grand at a manure spreader so that I can make use of the manure that we have being produced by the cows. And yeah, do something like that. So, but for now, I'm just going to spend a few more minutes just dithering around, just loading up the bales here with into the TMR mixer, and then once that's done, then I'll pick you all back up again, and we'll go spend some money, eh? Right, off to the shop. Let's get ourselves massively into debt, shall we? I'm kind of looking forward to this, if I'm honest. It's like I said before, it's a bit of a change for me. In fact, what we will do is go up here first on the way, and I'll show you the field that we're about to purchase. So this is the very small little patch of land that I was talking about that we're just going to convert into a field. It's just like a bit of rough ground, really, that no use to me. I'm not going to be placing anything on it, so I may as well just cultivate it under, turn it into some arable land, add it onto the existing field. Now, annoyingly, even though it looks like it has recently been limed, I don't obviously have the precision farming data for it yet, but even though it looks like it's been freshly limed, I can almost guarantee that I'm still going to have to throw some lime on it, so it's all good. But yeah, this is the first one, field 28. But based on what I've learnt from Virtual Farming Life's information, that he said, in an ideal world, we could be looking at somewhere in the region of about €35,000 a hectare from earnings from the spinach from one harvest. So initially, doing very basic mathematics, we could be looking at an income from that field of about 110,000 euros from the first harvest, and we'll be getting a second harvest of it several months later. So somewhere in the region of 220,000 euros in the first year. That's pretty good. Now, yes, of course, that 220,000 euros, if we do achieve those kind of numbers, all that will have done is pay for the field and give us 30,000, give or take a bit, in profit, which is still a profit, you know, even if we factor in the 10,000 euros it's going to cost for the seeder, which we need across the whole farm. So I'm not going to, you know, put that expenditure against just the spinach field. We need a seeder across the farm, don't we? So there we go. Right, let's just pull up here for now. So yeah, so it could stand us in pretty good stead. So first and foremost, we need to get ourselves into debt. We need this loan, don't we? What I do want to buy is, like I said, we're going to buy the Amazon D830 seeder for 10,000 euros, and we're going to buy a manure spreader as well, which we don't really need now, but I mean, we might be able to use it on the grass at some point, because obviously that's what we've got the slurry tank for as well. But we'll sort that out. I may as well, if I'm going to get the money, I may as well get what we need, and then it's there for when we do need it. So first and foremost, let's jump into our finances menu here. There we go. So in total, everything that I want to buy is somewhere in the region of about 414,000 euros. So we're going to spam the borrow button for now. Where are we? Loan 30, 50. I hope it allows me to go up that high. I must admit, this, like I said, having never really got loans, I'm not too sure. So we'll go for, I think we'll go for 410. Boom, boom. Right, there we go. We have done it. Right, so let's get the big stuff spent first. So we'll go into our map PDA. Where are we? So field 28, there we go. Yep. 189906, that's ours there. Excellent. And then back over to field 67. Make sure that's the correct one. Yeah, that's the one I want. 176838. Let's get that purchased. Excellent stuff. There we are. Nice. Okay, so that's that. So now I want what I'm going to pick up is I'm going to pick up a handful of bags of pig food, the manure spreader, and the seeder, I think, at the minute. So we'll go for the pig food first. I think we'll grab 4 of these just for now. 4 of those. Yeah, we'll buy those. Thank you very much. Nice. There we go. And now I want the seeder. So what I do like about this particular seeder is the fact that, because as you'll see in a minute, if I go to find the thing, where are we? There we go. This lovely mod by Puzzcap. When we go into it initially, as you'll see, the price there goes from 10 to 15,150, because at the minute it looks lovely, shiny and new. But I'm going to get rid of all the markers because it kind of comes specced up. So, but I don't need any of this. I just want the basic kind of poverty spec seeder. So we'll put that to 0. We'll put the rake to 0. I want the stickers. Now this is something I quite like. You can have a worn out set of stickers, or you can have the new stickers. So we want the worn out ones. I don't want reflectors, don't need those. Now the main colour as well, as you can see, it's 1,500 euros for the colour that it's currently in. But if we go back a couple of notches, you've got lightly used and very used. And I just very much like the idea of very used, because that's what our current machinery looks like. And it's the same for all the different areas that you can spec in a colour. You've got lightly used and very used. So we go for that there. Design colour, that colour, we want very used, and obviously the benefit of that is it brings the cost down to what I'm expecting it to be. So everything worn, very used, and generally looking a little bit sorry for itself, but that's going to do. That's going to do me absolutely fine. I think our fields aren't massive. We don't need a vast, expensive, super fancy seeder. We just need to get the seed into the ground. So there we go, 10,000 euros, lovely stuff. And now for the manure spreader. Let's pop back out of here. Manure spreaders. Now I was just going to go for this one. I don't have many mods installed apart from this one here, which requires the purchase of that thing there at 387,500 euros, which is completely unnecessary for what we need. I kind of figured I'd go for this one here, with it being the absolute cheapest. It's got it's cheaper than that one, but it's got a bigger capacity, and it also has the capacity for a slightly wider spread as well. So we go into there. Oh, goodness me, there we go. So this one here, not too sure that, oh, that one gives us it's an extra $5,000 for the wider spread. So I think we'll yeah, we'll go for the wider spread. I think we'll go for that. I think we may as well splash out, as it were. So there we go. Right, now obviously I'm not going to be able to get all of this stuff back here with what we have currently in here. But what I am going to try and do, I don't know if this is going to work, and I may well live to regret it, but I'm going to see, with us having the pallet fork here, I can leave the manure spreader here for a while, I'm not bothered about that. But I'm going to see if I can lift the seeder up onto the trailer. I don't think I will. It's probably a very stupid idea. And I know in reality you wouldn't necessarily do this because you'd damage it. No, I don't think I'm going to be able to, am I? I don't think I'm going to be able to slot these underneath. I mean, I am going to try. No, clearly not. That's not going to work. So we'll get the bags on, we'll get them loaded up. There we go. Now annoyingly as well, I also have to select individually the front loader arm or the pallet forks. Unfortunately, some systems allow you to operate the pallet forks at the same time. Ooh, that's not going to work, is it? Two at a time. There we go. Bring them as close as possible. That'll do. That'll do. We'll get them on. So yeah, so I'll faff around here. I'll get this lot back to the farm. I'll make a couple of trips. Oh, before we forget, actually. Oh no, I don't need lime. We'll go buy lime from the landscaper, which is around the corner. Suddenly I thought that I needed to buy some pallets of lime, but of course no. We can go and buy them from the people who sell it local. So there we go. I might need to move those across a little bit. That's better. That's better. Right, so yeah, I'll muck around here for a minute or two, sort all this lot out, get it all back to the farm, and I'll pick you up in a minute when I think we're going to go and drill ourselves some spinach. Right, forgive me ladies and gentlemen, there was one stage that I needed to do before I said let's go drill some spinach, and that was of course I need to scan in the field data. Now we're back now in the F140, got a bit more power under the bonnet, but as you can see I've got the field scanner mounted up front, and we've got the cultivator mounted on the back of this thing, because I just need to, like I mentioned before, just bringing to this field this little kind of patch of ground that we have no use for whatsoever. But what I do have mounted to the front is this is not the base game Isaria Scout. This is the wonderful kind of modded version by Akimobile. Now it comes in a handful of sizes. I have kind of gone for a very big one here. I'll show you. I'm not going to scan it yet because I need to kind of cultivate in this ground. But if you have a look at the mini map there in the bottom, if I unfold this tool, look at the size of that there. You can see the scanning radius there on the tool. It's massive, and honestly, I know I've mentioned it once or twice before, but this is one of the very few jobs in Farming Simulator that I just find to be woefully painful, quite frankly. It does my head in. I don't find it fun. It's not enjoyable. It's just painful. I know it's necessary to get the precision farming data in. It's cheaper to do it this way than it is just to go into the map PDA and buy it in. But yeah, I find it well annoying. What can I say? So what do I need to do? I need to lower this down, just bring up the F1 menu very quickly. I want to allow create fields, and we're just going to bring this pretty small little square just into the field here as neatly as possible. So where are we there? Just bring us down to about there-ish, I think, roughly. There we go. Let's lift that up. try and keep it as nice and neat and square as possible. But yeah, I'm going to get this lot done, get this little bit cultivated in, I'll get this field scanning done. It's not going to cost us a huge amount of money at all. I'm pretty sure it costs us the same amount of money per scan, but we just get a lot more land scanned in for it, so there we go. Relatively neat, and then I need to make my way over to our other field as well and get that data scanned in. So I'll pick you up very shortly. When this is done, we'll have the new seeder on the back of this. We'll need to load it up and with a bit of seed, possibly bring a bit of seed over to the field. I'm not too sure actually, because I'm not too sure of the seed rate of spinach. It's not a very big field, obviously. I think maybe we'll go for one hopper load, because it's only 1,000 litres. That is obviously of the new the D830 Amazon seeder that we've got. It's only got a capacity of 1,000 litres, so we'll see how far it goes, obviously. But I may well need to make a way back to the farm, possibly. Not too sure to fill up halfway through. But we'll see how far it goes. But like I say, yeah, I'll pick you up in a few minutes' time when all this is done, and then we will be drilling our spinach. So, see you in a minute. Right then, sorted. Let's get ourselves out to the field and actually get this spinach drilled now, shall we? So I have, it only cost me €600 for 4 field scans to get both fields scanned into using that wonderful mod from Akimobile. So yeah, I'm very grateful that mod has come back to Farming Simulator, because like I said before, yeah, one of the most painful jobs that I find in Farm Sim. But yeah, don't you reckon that this looks pretty cool? Just a nice old weathered beaten, small, simple, you know, seeder. I think it just looks great. I think it's going to work really well. I've got no idea of the seed rate, like I said before. It's going to take a while. It is, obviously, with it only being, I think it's 3 meters wide, is it? I think, something like that. We'll see how far it goes, how long it takes us, but it's all part of the fun, isn't it? I'm looking forward to this spinach. So yeah, I think in my usual fashion, I'm going to throw some music behind this job, turn it into a bit of a cinematic for you all, and I'll pick you up in a bit. I tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, I am seriously starting to regret not having done these much sooner. I tell you what, I mean, look at that. 969 litres of seed left in the hopper of the drill. I haven't filled up once. We've used, what's that, 31 litres? It's absolutely crazy. So, so far, very economical. And on top of that, at the minute that, as you can see, if I wander just across a couple of little areas of the field, you can see the weed growing icon, whatever you want to call it, label, appearing and going away very quickly. So at the minute, it stayed for a little bit longer there. So we may need to run a weeder. We may need to do a little bit of weed eradication. I'm not too sure. We'll see what goes on into the future. Now, I do need to throw some lime on here. I know I should really have done that first before seeding, but I was just kind of keen to get running the seeder and get the spinach into the ground. The nitrogen is perfect, which is brilliant as well. It does say 155 out of a necessary 160 kilograms a hectare. So again, just to make sure that the yield is absolutely perfect and exactly what it wants to be, I probably will run the sprayer in here in the future when the crop has germinated, just to make sure that that yield is absolutely bang on. But so far, so good. And even on top of that, something I didn't appreciate until now is it doesn't need rolling afterwards either. If I go into the soil composition menu very quickly, there we go. It's not blue, which I was expecting to have to do after drilling a crop. Again, this is just my naivety, I suppose, my lack of experience in having never done these crops before. But yeah, don't need to roll them either. So that's, I mean, it's a win-win-win so far. Honestly, I can't wait. And I think one decision I have actually made during the time it's taken me to get this field drilled is, I mentioned before that the other field that we purchased, field 67, I was going to have a go at putting some peas in there, but I think for my first kind of my first foray into doing these crops, I'm going to stick with spinach. On top of that, obviously, like I said at the beginning, that you get two growths out of your spinach. I don't know if that's the case for peas. I really don't know. But for now, with what I know right this second, I'm going to make the decision that we're going to keep with spinach. So technically, from the two fields, we'll get 4 harvests this year. So that could be very, very lucrative, I feel. So, all that to come in the very near future. Next episode, we will be we'll get the other field drilled, we'll get the lime spread, I think, and we'll just get everything topped up, as it were, and get them exactly where they need to be, because it's only going to be a few months before we're going to be spending a chunk of money leasing out one of those wonderful Oxbow spinach harvesters and getting them into the fields. So, and that, I suppose that's another reason why I think it might be an idea for me to stick with that one crop of spinach just for now, because I think that should also make the leasing of the machinery cheaper, because I'll only be leasing one for X amount of time instead of 2. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I think that's decision made as far as I'm concerned. But for today's episode, ladies and gentlemen, because I am aware this one has gone on a few minutes longer than the usual length, I am going to call it here. Thank you very much for watching. I really do hope you have enjoyed the video and found it a little bit of fun. As always, if you're new to the channel and you like my content, you like the way I'm doing things, please consider hitting that subscribe button and jumping on board, joining the channel. Please give the video a like if you can. It does do wonders, helps the YouTube algorithm do its thing. And as always, there are a host of links in the video description below with my Giants Partner promo code. If any of you are in the market for purchasing Farming Simulator 25 and you like the idea of supporting the channel and helping out a creator, as always, I would be massively appreciative. And on top of that, also, if any of you are in the market for an online server to play with your mates and you like the idea again of supporting the channel and helping out a creator, but also like the idea of a 10% off reduction in the cost of that server, please consider using my G-Portal affiliate link, which again will be in the video description below. Any help and support there also would be hugely appreciated. So, thank you very much for your time again, ladies and gentlemen. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.